it has become something that is more what they call actually engagement-based matchmaking now.
My jaw was on the floor when I watched this one clip that just came out. About EOMM manipulating and rigging your games in Call of Duty, the system that bases matchmaking off engagement and separates different players from each other to make sure the casuals that spend tons of money on the game don't quit. Remember how many times that people who said this were labeled conspiracy theorists and told that it was a skill issue to complain about genuinely the worst matchmaking in the history of gaming? Well, to you naysayers out there, an absolute bomb just dropped that basically helps us confirm and solidify the argument that EOMM exists if it wasn't proven enough already. Check out this clip from the most recent upload from the XDefiant team talking to the director, Mark Rubin.
What exactly is skill-based matchmaking, and why did you decide that it wasn't right for XDefiant?
Okay, so skill-based matchmaking, also known as oftenly as SBMMM, basically where the game decides that you have a certain skill level after it kind of watches you play for a few matches, and then matches you up with people who are equivalent on your skill level. Now, in the olden days, it was pretty light and didn't really intrude too much into the game. It has become something that is more what they call actually engagement-based matchmaking now, where it sort of is like an AI that's monitoring your behavior and going, okay, this person's getting beaten too many times and we think they might quit, so we're going to make the game easier for them, and then you'll get a game where you win, and then it'll bring you back to the playing against the same people you were playing for.
Okay, now you may be saying, that's all well and good, but just because this guy talks about modern games using EOMM doesn't mean it's actually in use. But I beg to differ. Who is Mark Rubin, for those of you who don't know? Well, I'll let him introduce himself. This tweet by Mark shows exactly who he is. It says, I was the executive producer at Infinity Ward for 10 years. I made COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, and Ghosts. And for those of you who are confused about what an executive producer actually does in a video game studio, they're basically tasked with a few key things. They keep track of overall progress made on the game and manage that accordingly. They keep track of finances. They connect different teams together and allow discussions to happen. They offer creative feedback about the game being developed, and they sit through a lot of meetings. In order to become an executive producer, you have to have a ton of experience developing and producing games. You have to be extremely well versed within the industry. And this guy was the executive producer for the most groundbreaking first-person shooter of the 2000s, COD 4, which ultimately fully kicked off Call of Duty's career. Along with that, the original Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3. This guy's resume is no joke. I also found it funny that he left after Ghosts, which was regarded as a bad title. Perhaps he didn't get his way and Activision didn't like his creative feedback because of their own motives, and he left the studio. Either way, he knows the industry extremely well, and he likely knows Activision's practices inside out. Maybe not the most recent updated practices that are just getting put in place, but certainly their monetization strategies and where they were headed with all of it. Along with the connections Mark obviously has to other big people in the industry, there's certainly a good amount of reasons to trust what he says. He speaks from vast amounts of experience and knowledge about the Call of Duty franchise. And in this video, he brings up EOMM. And he doesn't just bring it up as a possibility. He brings it up after the interviewer asks him about the lack of SBMM in XDefiant, and then he denies that modern matchmaking is actually skill-based and instead suggests that it's engagement-based. Not only that, he also mentions the fact that some form of AI tracks your progress and makes sure that if you are about to get off the game, it throws you an experience that is directly tailored to make sure that doesn't happen. Activision has been rumored to use AI, and an AI would definitely make something like a super complex engagement-based algorithm run a lot easier. Perhaps there's some merit to what he's saying, given his history and experience. And the absolute best part is that he is saying this because it doesn't affect him or his studio at all, because he's all for the players. If he was working for Activision or Ubisoft and he admitted that it was EOMM, obviously it would scare people away because they don't want people to know their business practices. But it doesn't matter to him because he doesn't use it. So of course he's exposing it. This is just awesome. Either way, how does it feel to deny EOMM over and over again and call me and other outspoken creators conspiracy theorists and tell us to get better at the game, and then have Call of Duty's former executive producer, who had a major influence in the development of some of the best Call of Duty games, COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, and Modern Warfare 3, and is a clear industry insider with information we don't know, say that this is exactly what matchmaking has become. And not only that, he says it without hesitation, and even says that it's immoral and makes things scary and not fun to play. He also mentions that it takes away the diversity and variety that people usually had because of how they're punished in every matches. This guy knows what's up. Now, while saying something is true just because someone in a high position is called an argument of authority, which is a logical fallacy. So I won't say that modern COD uses EOM said it. But think about all the evidence we've gathered. Disbanding lobbies, terrible ping, the player experience alone, reverse boosting, the fact that drones are more effective than any other form of matchmaking on for player attention. Activision acknowledging of the question entirely. Their official public statements literally admitting that the matchmaking tracks parameters that directly reflect how engaged a player is. That also lines up perfectly to their patents. I've gone over so many reasons that EOMM is being used in COD.
Crossfire is real.
Without saying anything, you should have no trouble figuring out that it's there, because the evidence for it is overwhelming, and the evidence against it is incredibly lacking. You can't prove it's not there, but you can definitely prove it is there. But on top of all of this, we now have somebody in Mark's position, and keep in mind, he was executive producer for some of the best old school Call of Duty games, saying that it's actually EOMM that exists in modern games, not SBMM. An argument from authority is a fallacy, but with everything else already in play, it sure does create a much stronger case than it ever was before. This is huge! And not only that, he clearly has insider knowledge about trends and modern methods used in the gaming industry. This guy clearly knows some things the players, and myself included, don't know. We got it straight from the horse's mouth. Modern games, including COD, which is clearly what he was referencing, use matchmaking mainly based on engagement, not skill. It just happens to measure skill because how are you going to keep bad players engaged unless you protect them from players that are better than them? I don't know how much more obvious it can get. My jaw was on the floor when I was watching this video, and I couldn't believe he actually said this. He knew the risk. He knew it would cause an upset, and that's exactly what he wants. He wants players to leave COD for XDefiant, and I'm all for that. Props to this guy. What an absolute bomb he just dropped on the industry. The good things just keep on coming from XDefiant and its developers. Along with all the evidence for EOMM and